Are you looking to create a project plan in Smartsheet? Well, you've come to the right place, because in today's video I'm going to be showing you exactly how to build a project plan from scratch in Smartsheet. So as you can see, I'm in the home interface of my Smartsheet account. I'm just going to hit the browse button and we're going to start completely from scratch. So I'm going to right click on Sheets, click Create, and we're going to start with the grid. So let's call this How to Create a Project Plan in Smartsheet. Now, there are plenty of different templates that you can use in the Solution Center, and one kind of quick way to get there is by navigating on the left hand side and clicking the plus. So I just want to kind of mention this first and foremost, because you might actually be able to get yourself a project plan from all of the templates available. But if you want to create something from scratch, maybe something a little bit more bespoke, then it probably is best to start from a new grid, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here today. So I'm going to be walking you through all of the different columns to include, and I will be showing you some of the key settings to basically set up to make this a lot more manageable, operate better, and just to give your different team members the tools they need to document project progress. So what we're going to do is we're going to start first and foremost. We're going to stick a new column in the left here, and we are going to call this status. Now we're going to make this a symbol, and here there's you have different options in terms of what you can kind of use. I like to use the lighting status option, and I like to choose the 4 different color options, and I'll show you why in a moment. So we're going to stick this in here, and as you'll see, we now have the ability to select the different statuses. Now, one quick thing to do here at this point is actually put in a status key, so anyone who comes into the project plan knows exactly what the colors are referring to. So I've just bolded that, and I've kind of background color gray just to kind of separate this out. So what we can do here is, if we just go through each of the options one by one, then you basically can map what each means, and as you'll see, we've got some of the formatting has come across from the first column there. So to get rid of that, I'm just going to select this cell. There's 2 ways I can do this, and I can do format painter and just get rid of it like that, or I could have just changed the color. But anyway, I'll quickly walk through what I would recommend for the different colors. So we could have something like not started, yellow could be on hold, green could be in progress, and blue would be complete. So now we've got a status key, so it's kind of looking a little bit better. Now onto the actual columns itself. Now let's call this task, because this is where we're going to list all of the different tasks in our project plan. We also want to put in priority, and as the name suggests, the priority of the task. Now here, if you click on the symbol, so what I've done there, sorry if I did that too quickly, I've right clicked on the column. We're going to change the column properties at the bottom. We've then selected symbols, and we are then on the visual symbol section, scrolling down a little bit, and I'm just going to put in these 2 options for now for our priority, and we want to restrict to symbols only. So here, similar to the status column, you can only select one of 2 options. Is this a high priority task or is it a low priority task? Again, there was another option there. If you wanted, maybe you have some tasks that are, medium, then you can include that as well. Let's leave that in there for now. I should have changed this to priority, if I can spell correctly. So we've got priority. Next, we want to put assigned to, so who is going to be working on the particular task. Now here we want to, essentially we're going to put a contact list. Now we can either have particular names and emails, so we can put particular options within the drop down, or you can just have anyone, a manual free text field. So let's put this as Bob Dylan. Why not? Who else have we got? We've got got Bob Dylan, we can have Tom Cruise, and why not, just to finish it off, why not have Pete Tong? Don't know why he came to mind, but he now is a member of the team. Restricted values only. Okay, so now you have the different individuals. Excellent, including myself and my own account. So we've got assigned to. Now we want to have notes. So if you want to put any notes in to the against each task, I'm going to save this. Always a good practice to save as you're going along. We want a start date, and we're going to change this to a date. Restricted dates only. We're going to have an end date. Again, date. Restricted dates only. Okay. Or that could be end date or finish date, by the way. So let's change that. So that really does depend on your kind of, what words you want to use. There's not much difference there. Same kind of principle. And on the right, we're going to include a duration column. And we're also going to put in a predecessor column. So I might be spelling this wrong. This is tricky. You know what? We're not going to worry about that for now, and I'll tell you why, because there's a handy little trick I'm going to show you. Anyway, so we've got the main columns. We will get a predecessor column in here, and we'll get that done shortly. And it's actually going to come in. Let's do that now, actually. What we're going to do is I'm going to right-click on one of the columns, and we're going to change the project settings. Now, on the dependency settings, we want the start date column to be the start date. We want the end date column to be the finish date. So it's picked that up automatically, but you could choose depending on the date columns you have in you've set up in your sheet. We want dependencies enabled. So a column named duration already exists on your sheet. Use it to enable dependencies. Yes, that's exactly what we want to do. So, and that has created the predecessor column, as you can see, and I've just learned how to spell predecessors. Now here you select the predecessors, so we've got that obviously is done automatically, and the duration column is done automatically. Now the percentage complete, we don't have that, so I'm going to add that in a moment, and then I'm going to select it. And then you can change things here, such as your working days. So let's say we work 8 hours on Monday through to Friday. And you can do some additional things there, but this is kind of the default. So here we go. We're actually going to add one more column. So insert column right, percentage complete. And we're going to click OK. Select this as a percentage format. Now if I go back into the project settings, so right click, edit project settings, percentage complete column, percentage complete. Okay. Excellent. We're nearly there. We're getting there. It's starting to take shape. Now, let's actually build out the project plan itself. So what I like to do is in this column here, perhaps a couple of rows down from our status key, is include the project title. So let's call it How to Create a Project Plan in Smartsheet. That's the name of our project. And I'm going to actually expand this out a little bit, because our tasks are going to be quite long, aren't they, in terms of we're going to be quite descriptive in our task, and we're going to need a bit of space in this column. So I've gone up to the top here and I've dragged it across. Let's bold that out. Now, what we need to do is, this is going to essentially become our project status. So we're in progress, so we're going to go green for now, but we can get that to update depending on what we have down here below, and I'll show you how to do that as we go along. Now, one thing I like to do is, for formatting purposes, is I'm just going to drag all of these. So I've left clicked in this cell, and I'm dragging across, and I'm going to go across to all of the columns, and I'm going to let's use the grey again, and that's just obviously breaking it out. We can see where the project plan is starting, so that's really, really useful. Now we're going to actually start the project plan task itself. So here we're going to put project initiation. Now of course it depends on your project, it depends on the tasks that you have, how many tasks, we're going to be showing milestones in a moment, but it depends on the milestones that you have and the kind of project you're working with. These tasks are a very useful set of tasks that can apply to any project, but you might want, as I say, to have your own tasks. So just bear that in mind. These can all be edited to whatever meets the needs of your project, but it's the principle I'm trying to show you here and how you can create your project plan. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to indent, and what that's going to do is that's going to basically create a relationship between these two tasks, and that's, or these two rows, and that's essentially how we're going to format our project plan to make sure it all rolls up together and that we all basically get all of the, everything is kind of aligned and updates. You know, when you update one task, it updates the next, and it's all kind of managed in that way. So that's really important that we use the indenting function. If you didn't want that indented, then you can just simply outdent. But as I say, we want this indented. So in project initiation, we are going to include, I'm just going to do a couple here just for your kind of understanding and idea of or perhaps some inspiration of what tasks to put here. So we're going to have prepare business case. We're going to present the business case. And we are also, I'll just put a blank here. So this is going to be other. Now, again, we've got this formatting issue. This is my mistake. I'm just going to quickly wipe that out, select all of the cells, right click up here, and we're just going to go white. Now we want all of this. Now we want these to be subtasks of the project initiation phase. So again, I'm selecting them all and I'm indenting. And as you'll see, that enables us. So at the moment, we've got a phase and we've got 3 tasks under that particular phase. Excellent. Now I'm going to unbold this as well. And that's another thing when it comes to creating your project plan. Use the formatting to make it kind of tie in together. So I like that we could put this, you know, a little bit bigger. Let's put this as 12. And then you could put this in another color if you wanted. You could put this color in like maybe a lighter gray, just to kind of differentiate and just distinguish the different parts of the project plan. And I'll keep that bold, and I won't bold these. And then you get the idea. It's, you know, it's very it's just a way of making it easier on the eye. So these are all going to be not started by default. So I'm just going to bring all this down. In fact, everything's not started. This is a brand new project plan, so I'm just going to drag that right the way down. Save. Okay. So next up, we have project planning. Now we don't want that with a capital R. Again, let's bold this, and I quite like that grey. I think that's going to work very nicely just to break this all up. So we're going to go here again. Now you've got to check the indenting. This needs to come across one, because if I was to do this, you'll notice that it's not indented correctly. So indent again. So now we have these two phases of the project. Now in project planning, I'm just going to include a couple. So we're just going to have something like define the milestones. We are going to decide on the project governance. And we are also going to determine the budget of the project. Now again, we need to indent these, and we're starting to take shape. Okay, so who's in charge of project initiation? Sorry, this is a priority. This is very important. Let's just put these, just to give you an example. You know, these are very important phases, so let's put it like that. This one isn't so much, so let's put that as low. You get the idea, and then you can start assigning people. So here, Bob Dylan's in charge of the project initiation, and for project planning, it's Tom Cruise. Right, excellent. So we could even, in the bottom right-hand corner, drag this down, and Bob Dylan is in charge of the lot. He's project initiation. Now, of course, with some things like this, it's likely that, or with a project plan, it's likely that the project manager is in charge of the majority of these tasks, but you may have the odd task that's outsourced to an individual. It could be to a particular project team, for instance. So you could put the team in here. You know, I've put individuals, but it's just to give you an idea of how this kind of works. And just, yeah, the options that are available to you. Now, you might put some additional notes in here. So this could be something like, be sure to include project sponsor. I don't know, just, you get the idea, just including some notes of when, you know, or just some additional commentary that may help this particular task, or someone, or Bob who's working on this task. Now the start date we're going to have as today. Now, as you can see, the minute I've put that date in, it started populating, and that's because of the way that the parent and child relationships work. And this is exactly why you want to use the indenting functionality, because what it is basically doing, sorry, let's put in today's date again, is it's rolling up, it's rolling right to the top. So what this is, this project, so when we're finished, the start of the project will basically be the first date it can find within the project plan. So, this is really, really great. It rolls up, and then we've got a duration. So we've got a project duration of a day here, because this is how it's set up at the moment. If I change this to the 30th, we've got 3 days. So you get the idea, and it's very, very, very useful. Now, we could say that this has been completed, and that at the moment is saying that the project is 100% completed, but that's because we don't have other percentages in the project. So if I put 0, 0, and I drag this all the way down, nothing's completed as of yet, so we are on 0%. The project is at 0% completion. Now, predecessors, the way you need to imagine this is predecessors essentially link tasks together. So for instance, the business case cannot be presented until the business case has been prepared. So we need this to be a predecessor. So that needs to be row 7. And then you select the type. So how this is essentially the schedule. So do you want it to be finish to finish, finish to start, finish to finish, start to start, start to finish. Now we're going to put finish to start just for the example. Circular dependency, okay, we don't want any lag, and let's put start to finish. Circular dependency, finish to finish. What am I doing here? Circular dependency 7. I've selected, sorry, excuse me, I've selected the wrong row here. This is the wrong row. The reason why this isn't working is because that should be 9. Now I prepare business case, finish to start, okay. So the predecessor 9. So what that number means is the row. So whatever you put in here refers to the row. So for instance, again, if we wanted the budget, if the budget, am I not? Yeah, I am. I'm having a mare here. If we wanted the budget to be can only be done once the project governance is done and the milestones is done, you could literally just put in the columns here, the rows here. So 13. So basically this is saying that you cannot decide the project governance until the milestones have been defined. You cannot determine the budget until the project governance has been defined. And what this has done, I don't know if you saw that, is populated the duration. So this is one of the benefits of working in Smartsheet, is that you can get it all to kind of update. It's all linked together, and you can get it to update automatically, so you don't have to keep entering data, and it also makes sure that all the data is accurate as well, because it's all dependent on one another. So you're getting the idea how this is starting to work here. Now I'm just going to quickly add a few more tasks. So we've got the project planning phase. We could put other things in here, like, I don't know, prepare project plan, and then that could be a subset of this section. So we've got prepare project plan. Now we might want to have this as discuss project with stakeholders, obtain information from, you get the idea. It's just, these are the kind of things you can look to include, so we're going to indent them under there. So that's the project planning phase. Now let's move on to project execution, because that would be the next logical phase. Again, we want to bold, we want this to be indented, and we want this to be in that lovely grey. So let's just make sure that that's aligned. We want that to be there. Let's do this. So you can also do this. You can click these little buttons and it kind of hides and shows, and that can be quite nice when you're actually creating it, just to give you more space and to see if you're making sure your indenting is aligned correctly. So in project execution, we are going to communicate project requirements. We are going to in this project set up facilities and equipment, and we are also going to put in some particular tasks that need to be done. So this could be things like assign tasks, and it could also be implement communications, and we want these to be underneath here because that's part of the setup, the facilities and equipment, and we want this to be across here like that and across here like that. And lastly, our last phase, I'm going to click Control C, Control V, and that gives you the formatting and the alignment as well. If you do that, that's another way to create your different milestones. We're going to use these as, consider these as milestones in this particular project. And for the closed project, we're going to document lessons learned. We are going to collect project metrics, and we are going to obtain project sign off. I don't know, I put a full stop there, I did not need that. Save. This needs to come across one more, and then we have these. So this is looking quite this execution's looking quite, we could add a bit more in here. So I'm going to insert above, and I'm actually going to put in here, communicate project requirements, just to give it a little bit more substance. I've already got that. I'm losing the plot here. You know what, let's just delete that out, but you get the idea. If you want to bulk it out, you can do that. But yeah, sorry, I'm just I'm forgetting what I've already entered, but you know what, that's okay. We all have these mistakes every now and again. So let's just expand this all out. So basically what you want to do is you want to go through your project and make sure that you have all of the tasks and the indenting and outdenting as required, and then basically you just go through this as well, the project manager or a particular team member or who's responsible to the task, and they'll just update accordingly. So let's say that this is complete. We've got this as complete. It was completed. You know what? I'm going to have to change the dates because today's the 28th. So let's put the started on the 26th and completed on the 27th. So let's work that out like that. And that's 100%. Now, if you get this message, this is basically referencing the parent-child relationship. So for any task to be updated, you basically need to ensure that any subtasks have got the data. So basically, in order for us to update the project initiation, we need to update all of the subtasks. So this would be a 100%. This would be 50. This is 0%, and this is 0%. But if, let's say, this was also done on the 26th of September, and that completes on the 27th, so that's 100%, you'll start to see things kind of, you know, it starts to update and it starts to align. Now here, this is scheduled for next week, Friday, and that's going to be a week long. And let's say that's 0%. And as you can see, the percentage is all updating. So this is rolling up, and that's great. So at the moment, we're getting some project level information in KPIs, which is really, really useful. Now, if I was just to, let's just whack Tom down here, Tom Cruise. You know what, Tom's a big player on this project. He's going to do the rest. We like Tom. So he is going to do the rest. We don't need to put the price in for now, but let's put some dates in. I'm just going to put, for argument's sake, okay, so the reason why I've got this message is because I've got some predecessors that we set up earlier. We don't need them for now. I'm just going to drag this down, and you know what, let's actually just do this. Let's just put some random dates in. I just want to show you what it all looks like when it's done, really. This is all 0%. So as you can see, the percentage complete for the project is updating, because what it's doing is it's noticing that, well, some tasks are completed, but there's a lot left that need to be done. This is not going to be done until November, and that's going to take 10 days. And here's another thing you can do. You can use the duration column, and that should update your dates as well. That's probably easier, actually, in some respects. So say you put in your start date as the 26th September, and you want this to be 5 days. you'll see that that's updated. 3 days. Then this is when, if you put predecessors in as well, you can work from duration and predecessors to really do this quickly. And so if I start from the bottom, update your project plan quickly. If I was to do this from the bottom, you'll see what I mean. So if we put in the start date, we're going to put the 1st of December, we're going to put the 1st of January, and we'll put the 1st of, you guessed it, February. Let's wipe this out. Now, if we put a duration of 30 days here, if we put a predecessor of 25, and if we put a predecessor of 26, now if I put 30, you can see all this is just updating. Look, this is great. It's really, really useful. And in that respect, if you set up your project with plan with duration and predecessors, then you can update the dates just by using these columns alone, or vice versa. So this is where it is really, really useful. I'm trying to think of what else I can show you. So we've got, without this video going on for too long, but we've got our basic project plan. Again, I'd recommend the indenting, outdenting, and adding all the tasks that you need. And I'd recommend these columns here. But one thing that we can look at now that, I don't know what it's going to look like, by the way, but now that we have dates, is we can look at our Gantt view. Now the Gantt view is going to populate based on the dates in the project plan. Now, as you can see, we've got this all set up based on the dates, and we've got all of the blue indicates a dependency, but we can see all the phases and how they relate to each other and where it looks like on the calendar view. So one other thing you can do here on the Gantt itself is you can actually create the dependencies between. So let's say project planning can't start until project initiation completes, and we can't start execution until project planning completes. No, it needs to be there. Why is it not letting me do that? I think it's because this is next. No, it isn't. It's because I didn't select that little bit there. I think it's just in the way, unfortunately. I think it's because this is in the way. Maybe if I do it that way around. You know what, there's probably something in there. It's probably because the dates are messed up. But basically you get the idea here. You can use the Gantt view to see where your project looks like, and you can also set up dependencies within the Gantt view itself. So I hope that this video was useful. I imagine it can be a little bit overwhelming at first. We've got various different things to think about here. Formatting is another beast entirely. You've got filtering, etc. So if you have any questions, drop them down below and I'll be sure to answer them as fast as I can. And yeah, please do like this video if it was useful and you want to see more videos like this, and do subscribe to the channel as well, and you'll get and if you hit the bell button, you'll get alerted of when I release new videos like this. With that said, I recommend getting into Smartsheet and just building these out from scratch and playing around with the columns and the functionality and seeing how this all works and ties in. Failing that, do be sure to head into the Solution Center, and you might even be able to get a project plan from scratch. So with that said, I hope you have an excellent day.